Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333 and welcome to Heart Divine 4. The New Order Don't Surf as the Union of South Africa. Now, last video we started off the game. Kind of realized fairly quickly we are in a rough situation, and from there we're just trying to pick up the pieces and try to figure some way to get out of the situation, or at least prepare ourselves for when the worst comes to shove. So yeah, well, let's get back to it. We have some American friends of ours working on advising our troops. Give us a nice little bonus. I think, what are we going to do after this? Maybe some stay-behind forces. We got African National Congress focused on. Let's work on the monarchy debate. The most divisive issue among the white community is indeed the debate between monarchy and republic. This seemingly political question, in truth, hides a much deeper division running across the entire country like an untended, festering wound. On one hand, we wish to hold the country together in the face of changing times, relying on the monarchy to mend differences and find common purpose within the force of our traditions. On the other hand, the National Party wishes to subvert our beautiful land into a bad copy of Germany, a racially segregated society where millions live in poverty and feel a Republican regime is what they need. They know that they hold the majority among the whites, enabling them to force through their so-called reforms. Can't the Boers see the error in their ways? Can't they see that Germany is falling apart because they did what Herzog is now trying to do? We can't be the only rational ones on this continent. Well, wait a second before saying that, because we just might be. That's neither here nor there. In the defense block, above all, we want equal political rights, because without them, our disabilities will be permanent. I know this sounds revolutionary to the whites in this country, because the majority of voters will be Africans. This makes a white man fear democracy. The man speaking these words is Nelson Mandela, a man on trial for 4 counts of sabotage and attempting to overthrow the government, charges that will stick and will potentially lead to his execution. He's been being tried alongside several other ANC members in a case which has garnered considerable attention. Mandela has used his opportunity to bring attention to his cause. This opening to the defense proceedings has been a 3-hour speech. In it, he has justified the ANC's decision to go beyond constitutional methods and nonviolent resistance because of the increasing restrictions placed on non-whites. Instead, they have embarked on a campaign of sabotage against property while developing a military arm for possible future use. But this fear cannot be allowed to stand in the way of the only solution which will guarantee racial harmony and freedom for all. He continues, it is not true that the infringement of all will result in racial domination. Political division based on color is entirely artificial, and when it disappears, so will the dominion of one color group by another. The ANC has spent half a century fighting against racialism. When it triumphs, as it certainly must, it will not change that policy. This is what the ANC is fighting. Our struggle is a truly national one. It is a struggle of the African people, inspired by our own suffering and our own experience. It's a struggle for the rights to live. He turns to the judge in the eyes for the last time he will do so in this trial. During my lifetime, I've decided to dedicate myself to this struggle of the African people. I fought against white domination, and I fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideals of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to see realized. But if need be, he concludes, is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. By Her Majesty, Grace, the defendant is sentenced to life imprisonment. Darn. Well, that's a bit get to our stability. What do we want to do here? We can't buy their we could buy their guns, but that would piss off the Pact. So I want to hold off before I do that. Let's recon the northern borders. Oh, we can't. Never mind. I don't know why, but Maybe it's because we're doing something already? I don't know. That might be it. The monarchy debate. So we got that done. Now I have to schedule a referendum. Despite our attempts at killing the motion supported by the National Party for referendum on the monarchy, the opposition resorted to total obstruction of a parliament to force our hand. After a week of gridlock, when the people started taking the streets in protest, we caved and accepted vote their proposal in exchange for the return of stability. We shouldn't have done that. Now the radicals are causing even more chaos than before, and our hands are tied by our own decision. We dance to their cacophony, and we ourselves choose with score. We have tried everything to delay their vote in the last months, but BNP threatened us, just as they did before, and officially disavowing the consultation would be the final nail in South Africa's column. We must schedule a referendum. We can only pray we win. Well, we'll have to see how that goes, I guess. Ooh. The white-haired Afrikaner rose from his place as quickly as he could, adjusting his glasses with one hand while the other gripped a sheet of paper, knuckles white from the pressure. All around him awaited abreast of Parliament, his colleagues of the National Party on his side, and the members of the Union Party, their ranks dirtied by the presence of the English, reminding him bitterly of their treatment of his family, placing him in concentration camps. His eyes regarded them with terrible contempt, especially as he noticed Siristi Kama, the only black man present, observing the proceedings. While he had obviously shared the same feelings his contemporaries had for the English, nobody would doubt that Albert would be more disgusted with the Kaffir. Nevertheless, despite the presence of these people, he would have to make his move now. Albert steadied himself as a parliament was called to order, the representatives of each party settling down in their seats. He waited until the speaker to proclaim them that the floor was free for him to take, and then he began to speak with them, his voice loud and clear. This land does not need to continue its existence under the watch of a monarch. In fact, for many times I have proclaimed this, especially with my party, it is not a necessity to seek the guidance of one. We can rule over this land as a republic with a president at its head, but what is the point of striving for this if it is not put forward to the people? For everyone to have their say, especially those who truly deserve to settle this land, which they have called theirs since they've come. Men from the Union Party rose in anger, booing him, raising their voices, but the speaker interrupted them, and the Boer just kept speaking more clearly, overcoming the volume of his opponents, just as many in his own party rose to defend him and to counter their disapproving remarks. I make it clear before you now. Realize that there is no way for this parliament to keep on moving forward if it cannot listen to the calls of the people. I demand that a referendum be considered for the sake of our people, and if this is not to be put to consideration, every proposal set forth by this parliament shall be halted. This land is our land. This is a Volksstaat, and we are not slaves of no queen or king. The parliament burst with noise. The Boer returned to his seats, proud as his party members shouted down the opposition, silencing them. What do we want to do? Well, unfortunately, I think it's his right as a member of the parliament to insult the crown. I just don't want to... I'm a little bit nervous about the possibility of arresting him, because I think it might make him more popular. So I'll try to avoid that as much as I can, you know? Yeah. Just gotta go with it the best we can. What else can we do? They had seen the smoke first, and it had been a pretty standard aerial patrol from the Beitbrig garrison. Same itinerary as always, spent a few hours on the chopper, buzzing along the wide Limpopo River, looking for any smugglers who might be trying to cross into East Africa. Simple. And then they had seen the column of black billowing from a patch of green near the abandoned Waipe border post. The chopper touched down and a squad stepped out, staring at the gruesome sight. There was a humble, low-slung main house made of stone and wood, accompanied by a couple shacks and a pen of goats. Flames poured from the house. The shack had clearly been picked over, and what goats hadn't been taken laid bayoneted in the grass, along with the family. Their remains lay in front of their house, the youngest son still clutching an Afrikaan's Bible in his ruined arms. Settlers, probably hard uptyped from the Kruger's Dorp or Bloemfontein, just trying to make a new life in the Loeveld. The corporal was almost surprised. The corporal! I thought it was corporeal. The corporal was almost surprised that there wasn't a covered wagon somewhere on the property. Along the back of the house, painted in garish red, was the name of their killers. Zanu, P.F. One of the privates spat on the ground when he saw the letters. Never saw them so far south. Jerry must have chased them here. As the corporal examined the scene, he noticed that it was an awful lot of quality rifle ammunition used there for a bunch of backwater guerrillas to be toting around. Never private noticed the blueprints leading into the tree line. Curious, the corporal thought. He would have to put that in a report. God save the Queen. Well, that's a little concerning. But what are you gonna... Can't really do too much right now about it. What do we want to do? Keep working on new guns, actually. I think we should do that, even. Schedule a referendum. And then we got a plan for the future. The future looks grim enough as it is, and we need to plan so that the situation doesn't get even worse. The matter of a black majority is especially pressing, but it could also become an opportunity. If we manage to secure their support by enacting sweeping reforms, reminding them that the true enemy is the NP, we could present a unified front against them and their German backers, winning the referendum by a landslide with the African vote. However, not all are in favor of this proposal. There are those, even within our government, who believe that in reconciliation with the National Party in the name of a government of a civilized, against the native threat. From their point of view, the best way to win the African vote would be a crackdown against rebel Negroes, followed by a general strengthening of the police to guarantee order. There is no more time to delay. We need to make a choice now. So, right, we have this now. The referendum on the monarchy. So in the province of Cape, which contains 35% of voters, we estimate they're somewhat supportive. Natal is extremely supportive. The Orange Free State is very not supportive. Transvaal is not that supported, and Bechuanaland is neutral. So, we have to figure out who we're going to end up voting for and who we want to support, or who we want to boost the support for. Let's go with Bechuanaland for now. And look, we actually flipped that more or less. It's not that much of a vote, but it is something. Ooh. Despite the great opposition put up by the Union Party, Herzog's party came out victorious. Now the streets of Johannesburg, Kaapstad, Pretoria, and all the other great settlements of the Republic exploded with cheers from Boers who came out to celebrate the calling of a referendum. The corners lit by street lamps, and on the highways free of traffic, the white citizens of South Africa, those who could proudly call themselves the sons and daughters of those who endured the great trek, were, for once, free to show off their joy at a victory over the Anglos and the Kafirs. Although such a referendum may have a chance of failure or potential sabotage, it was nothing to neglect. The Boers had done, and their enemies would have to shake their heads, sigh, and retreat into their homes. After all, as victory was celebrated, the streets of South Africa, the home of noble Boers, would witness questionable acts in the dark. A scream of a whore here and there would ring and fade. Some rumors of young Boers tossing an empty beer can at Kafirs as they sped over the roads would come and go. South Africa would have to put up with the Boers. They were getting closer very much as their victory to greater control of the land. Well, the police will deal with these ruffians. I'll see how that goes. I haven't done that before, so we'll have to see. I'm thinking real quick. I'll try to edit this out a little bit. Yeah. That kind of works. We still have more or less full coverage over our land. We'll hold on to a bit more of territory. Hold on to Kimberley, which is, I think, where most of our diamonds come from. So I don't know if there's any consequence to losing those, but if there is, hold on to it. Anyway, choosing our strategy. Our party has to face a threat which rests within. If we want to win the referendum and keep this country free, we have two decisions to make, and not one of these will be easy. The only thing we can do is accept what comes after which choice we make. We can either consider supporting the ANC, including them gradually, as peacefully as we can, into our dominion by listening to them. This would certainly win more moderate and considerate members of that Congress, and as a consequence, it shall invite their kin to see us in a more favorable light, and use their numerical majority to our advantage at the referendum. This would make us seem reasonable and approachable. However, this would inevitably provoke the Boers, especially those who follow Herzog and cling to the promises of his party. It won't be good. Otherwise, we can establish more confrontation in opposition to the Congress and appeal to more conservative voters. This means concrete police and possibly military action against them. Arrests and raids would be made, and this would allow us to try removing from our party one threat from within, removing much of the National Party's appeal to law and order. The result, however, may not be so good. We must anticipate the possibility of these people rising against us, turning to violence and pulling our nation down into anarchy. The only thing we can do about it is be careful, yet we must be quick about the choice we can make. There is no time for us to waste, for not only are we facing down the shadows that haunt our republic within, but we are also about to meet the challenge of the Nazis to the north of our borders. If we cannot meet these internal threats properly, we may fall easily into the embrace of the unforgiving Reich. Well, from what I understand, there are two ways a civil war goes down. Just with the Boers, or with the Boers and the ANC rising against us. So, having no two fucking factions is not going to help us at all. I'm not sure exactly how it affects the strength of the Boers. I know it pisses them off. I know that much, at least. But I don't know how much it'll strengthen them or weaken them. It's going to piss off a Reichsback. We can balance it out. We can maybe figure it out. So, we cannot stand alone. We have to sit down with them. And so we can't do this. We can't maintain the status quo. It's not going to increase support for the monarchy at all. But, from what I understand, that might not be the biggest deal. So, let's talk with the ANC. After long considerations, we have come to the realization that the greatest enemy to all of South Africa is the National Party and their plans to turn the country into a German satellite. Both diplomatically and politically, there can be no place for them and their segregationist views in our country. Of course, we need allies in the struggle to come, and the African National Congress is the best candidate. They would be the ones who would suffer the most under Boer and German boot, after all. If we manage to convince them to cooperate with us in exchange for sweeping reforms, we would surely enlist their aid against the would-be slavers and dramatically reduce tensions in the country. To this end, we need to open talks with the ANC immediately. Sounds reasonable to me. So, yeah. I'd say right now we have a bit of an advantage over the Republicans. But as we're about to see, that's not going to last, necessarily. Collapse of Triumvirate. There goes, Italy, Iberia, and Turkey's little faction. So, that's not good for them. Yeah. Let's select some research real quick, and then I'm gonna have to cut it here, I think. Let's go vertical industrial organization. Actually, what do we want more? Yeah, that works. Gonna help us with our repair speed, which is probably gonna be very important. We can also get working on a doctrine. I think strategic theorem doctrine is the move. Anyway, it's time to call it here, folks. So, thank you for watching. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of my content in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more uploads every weekday, as well as every Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, concern, anything of that sort, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I appreciate any feedback you kind folks might have for me. If you want to send a few bucks my way, Patreon, check it out. If you have any comments, feedback, comment section in the link below is the place to leave them. If you want to join up with me, chat, ask me questions, play games, anything like that, I have a Discord down below you can check out. I also have a Patreon down link below. I already said Patreon. I also have a Twitch channel in the link below. If you want to check that out, we can chat, play games, have a grand old time generally. So yeah, that's about it, folks. My name has been DB333. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.